Hi there, it's Cozy Bear Beats, and I'm here to do another beat breakdown. In this video, I'm gonna do deep analysis of an R&B type beat called Abnormal Love by producer DaBeat. Think of it in the style of Ariana Grande, Justin Bieber. Take a listen to the hook. If you want to listen to the full beat before continuing with the video, now's the time. Link is up there. If not, let's get into it. Alright, so let's start with instrumentation of the beat. It's a total of 21 tracks, which is a total of actually 20 elements because the drum bus doesn't count as one element. It's just where you put all of the drums. So again, it's one of those productions where there's not that many elements, 20. And out of those 20, 7 comes from the drums. So in reality, we only have a total of 13 harmonic melodic elements that fit the whole picture. First, if we take a look at the drums, you're gonna have the classic kick and snap. This is the foundation of the drums. Pretty self-explanatory. A little bit of reverb on the snap. That's always really good to add depth to things. Then we have a snare layer to make the sound fuller. You can see that it comes on the verses, on the choruses, but not on the pre-choruses, the bridges or build-ups. Together, on its own, kind of like a trap type of snare. 3 of them together. That is the foundation of the drums. Then obviously you're gonna add all the high end, which includes the hi-hats. I like these hi-hats because there is variety to them. It's not your classic that's just marking the tempo, but there's dropping ins and outs to make it more dynamic. There is a shaker somewhere. There it is. I mentioned this last time, but when you get to shakers, percussions, it's not that much about you being able to really listen to like, oh, a shaker came in there, or oh, there's a percussion there. That's not our main intention. Our main intention is just to add stuff that will make the whole picture feel fuller. And again, there are plenty of elements like this shaker that it will probably go unnoticed in the whole of the mix, but it just adds a little bit more of high end, a little bit more fullness to the thing, and that's the main purpose. Let's take a look at the listen to the percussions. This second percussion is similar to the hi-hat. So kind of like a dance between them. But again, with these percussions, maybe the other ones are a bit louder, but this one's is the same thing. It's just to add a little bit of something here, but without it being like super noticeable, like, hey, take a listen to the new percussions. Everything together is going to sound like this. That's the foundation of the drums. Then we have the bass lines. Those can be divided into electric organic bass or acoustic bass or something along those lines, but like from an organic nature. Then you have synths or sub basses. This is a sub, but it's kind of like a synth bass. I'll play it in a second. And then you have your 808s. Now, something that I like about this type of productions is that rather than just having one of those elements, you're going to have sometimes the sub that if you look at it, it works in the intro. So when things are starting, in the pre-chorus when you're trying to suspend things before the chorus lands, the bridge also where you're kind of suspending things. So just listen to the nature of this sub and you'll see how different it is from the 808. Just a synth bass kind of like evolving. Notice how much it changes when we add the 808. Ah, now this has a hit to it. This feels more like there's a rhythm to it. It's not suspended all together. Suspended, about to land. This is a great way of adding some dynamics to your songs is in sections where you want things to be suspended. You can use more of like an evolving type of synth. Nothing rhythmic, it's just whole notes, just following the chord tones. But then once the rhythmic part comes in, you can think more of, again, like a groovy bass line, or in this case, like a hitting 808 pattern. That's pretty much it for everything regarding the low end drums, bass. Now we're gonna move to the main part of this wonderful beat, which is actually split into 3. All of these 3 elements are pretty much one element united. Main 1, which is the pluck, It's kind of like electric piano, xylophone. There's a very percussive element to it. Every hit sounds like quite strong. And check it out. If I put it in the chorus with the 808 and the drums, this is how it sounds. Sounds pretty good on its own. There's not a lot that needs to be added. However, the genius about this type of productions, and one of the main elements or main tips that you can get from this is, yes, you might have your main rhythmic harmonic element set up, which in this case is the pluck, but why not add other layers that are doing the same thing, but that have a different tonal quality, to rather than having one simple sound, have one sound that's combining multiple sounds to have something more complex. In this case, we have a dark synth pad and a synth pad that sounds like a piano. Let's listen to the synth pad piano first. Same chords, same rhythm. Everything is the same. But notice how this one doesn't have the percussive hits. There's more river going to it, so it's more spacious. That one is definitely meant to be more of like filling up the space, making it more ethereal, while the other thing is kind of holding, the pluck is holding down the thickness of it. And then we have this dark path, which is going to be also the same chords and the same rhythm. Same, no like percussive hit. It's more like a... But notice how that one, number one, it's darker, and number one, it kind of like it's holding lower notes, so lower spectrum, like EQ information to make it fuller. So this one, the main point is to make the whole thing fuller. Once I put all of them together, you're not gonna notice that one as much. The one that you're gonna notice the most is the pluck, because it's the main one, but the other ones like give it more depth. So the pluck on its own. And then with the other elements. Wow. Add everything. So again, it's one of those things where, yes, we have 3 different tracks, 3 different elements, but all of this is one element on its own, because again, it's same rhythm, same notes of the chord, and then everything put together to have the percussive side of it, the ethereal side of it, and then the dark side of it. After that, we have this like guitar muted type of thing. It's actually a little bit weird sounding, if I'm honest, on its own. Again, one of those things, it's not really meant for you to be like honing all your attention to it, but just to add a little bit of like ear candy. It's there, but it's very difficult to hear. Again, that's also very common if we're separating kind of like the importance or the roles of each element. You're going to have the 808 sub and drums carrying the whole foundation of the beat. Then you're going to have the pluck, synth pad piano, and synth pad dark carrying the chords, the chord structure, the chord progression, and the middle thickness of the song. And then you're going to have stuff on top. But then this one, again, is just kind of like a sprinkle type of thing. Talking about things on top, you're going to have 3 different melodies, lead synth pre-chorus and lead synth pre-chorus 8BA. So it's pretty much the same, just up an octave. Very normal synth. Melody on the pre-chorus. And you're also going to have a melody on the second half of the chorus. This one is now sounding. A lot of reverb. This one's very good for like spatial melodies that are kind of just floating around. It's really nice. Kind of in the background, but it's very listenable. And then lastly, we're going to have all of our effects and a vocal chop. Let's take a look at the effects first. I separate them in a very easy way where you have all of I put them whooshes, but essentially, I've talked about this before. These 2 effects are transitional effects. Their main purpose is for you to understand, even before it's coming, the transition between a section to another or a half section. Notice how it's here in the middle, transitioning from intro to verse, then from verse to pre-chorus, from pre-chorus to chorus. The whooshes are things that are coming into the change. The hits are the ones that are coming out of the change. So coming in, coming out with the whole thing. Very important, once you have your whole structure and everything is set up, all the elements, relying on transitions to make it more obvious when things are changing is a really good tactic. And again, as you can see, pretty much on every section, there is a transition that's happening within the effects. And then the other one, which I've noticed that DaBeat likes doing a lot, is just adding an FX track that's just vinyl noise. Just some vinyl noise to add a little bit of texture to the song. And lastly, we have the vocal chop. What I love about it is that the melody is the same as the one that he put in the synth on the pre-chorus. Same one. So I'm sure what happens is he built the vocal chop because it's at the beginning of the song, and then he thought, I'm just going to put that same melody on the pre-chorus but with a synth. I don't think it's something that is very noticeable. I don't think someone who, once they get to the pre-chorus, they are like, oh, that melody is the one that they played on the beginning. But in the wholeness of it, it ties everything up because you're not trying to think of 1,000 different melodies for each section. It's literally the same melody that it's the main focus of the vocal chop, and then on the pre-chorus as an added. And that's pretty much it. If you're liking this video, make sure to let me know with a like, a comment, maybe subscribe. Anything will help this channel. It's a pretty small channel still, but with your help, I'm sure that I can build a community. So thank you. Now let's get into the song structure. It's a very, very common song structure. You have your intro, then you have verse 1 to pre-chorus to chorus, verse 2, pre-chorus, chorus, then a bridge, which can also be a build-up, and then a chorus. This is like the most common progression there is. Like you have an intro where you establish the vibe of the song. Obviously, then the verse comes in. That verse can be like just like a long verse or something that's split, like in this case, from verse to pre-chorus. Then it comes the hook. Very common for that to happen. Then it's very common from them to just kind of like copy paste. This is literally, I think literally there's a copy paste from verse pre-chorus chorus to verse to pre-chorus chorus. I think there's just a little bit of a drop in the drums. That's the one element that changes, but essentially it's just putting that structure again. And then it's very common that once you get to the second chorus to have a B section or a bridge to kind of just add a little bit of variety to the song so it's not like super predictable. And you can have that bridge just kind of like go through and land into the last hook, last chorus, or you can have a build-up, which is essentially you hear the hook again, but it's the hook without certain elements. So when the hook comes in, it lands like super strong. But yeah, let's go into the intro first, and let's just play a little bit of it. Again, the most noticeable thing is the pluck with the synth pads. The main thing that you're listening while the vibe is established is the chords, bam, 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 that thing. I did mute the vocal chops. Now, if I add the vocal chops, you can now listen to, okay, that's the main harmonic part, but there's like this melody floating. Beautiful. Nothing much in the drums, just the transition into the verse. Now the drums come in, so now it's grooving. Do notice how the pluck left there, so that's a really smart way of like, okay, I'm gonna drop the main element of the main element, so then there's a little bit more space and it feels like the thing dropped a little bit, so now the vocals can sit better. But you still hear the same, and it's still the same chord progression with the same notes. Into the pre-chorus. Pre-chorus gets suspended again. Everything feels floaty now. That melody comes in, which you heard before. The pluck came back, but it feels a bit emptier because there's not the piano pad. Everything. You have the three elements, 808, full drums. What comes next? That small melody. That's also a really good way of grabbing the hook, which in this case is like it's a 8-bar hook or 16 bars depending on the tempo, but it's like double what all the other sections have been. For it to not sound super repetitive, you can add on the second half of that section something like this synth melody, so then there's a little bit of continuous evolution in the hook. Transition into the verse. Verse and pre-chorus are the same. The chorus is the same, so I'm just gonna keep playing. Nothing changed. But now here we're gonna get into the last third of the song, which is gonna be the bridge to the build up to the last hook. Sub bass to suspend. Vocal hook comes back. It's the first time that we hear the vocal hook again on its own, like completely. And I think that's pretty much the only two elements. You have the noise. You can hear a little bit there. Super suspension, like everything dropped. You're only keeping two elements that are very spacey in nature. So it's a really good way to just kind of like, don't expect for you to hear the same thing. Let's drop it down for a second and let's build it back up into the hook. Notice how no kick, no hi-hat, no overlaid slap. Also no low end, no sub bass or 808. So that also helps a lot because those are the lowest, the elements with the most weight. So taking them away, makes it very easy for it to sound suspended. No main pluck either until you get to the hook. And that's pretty much it. As you can see, it's a fairly simple beat. Once you have the foundation for it, it's pretty much just a matter of developing the sections and kind of going through it. But this is another great example of how using proper layering can make your sounds really full and interesting, and also how in reality you need few elements to make a song sound full, and in this case, make it sound like a proper R&B beat. If you like the video, let me know in the comments. Let me know if there's any other beats or songs you like for me to analyze. And yeah, thanks for watching. Till next time.